and welcome to Hotspot. Tonight's lineup in Rugby League, we have the northern leg of the Super Rugby 9s as well as Hohola Off-season League in Port Moresby. We preview round 7 of the Telikom National Soccer League, but moving on with our show on the rugby union front, Lorraine joins us with the announcement of the Pukpuks 15 squad.
Thanks, Scholar. Now I'm here at the PNG Rugby Football Union HQ and I managed to catch up with Sydney Wesley, coach of the PNG Pukpuks. Now he was pretty excited to lead this young team of debutants at his first gig, which will be in Singapore against the Singapore national team. Here's what he had to say about the team selection process and how he feels about the team's performance over in Singapore next month.
Basically, we've spread our wings far and wide to try and see the talent that we have to bring them in, and that's exactly what we've done with the inclusion of the overseas base, that's the Brisbane base players.
Fullback Richard Aitzi flew into Port Moresby earlier in the year for the national trials, made the cut alongside fellow Brisbane opponents Bradley Kelagai, Shadrach Gabalia and Jordan Chichenko.
The selection process for the players, I think it was done over a 12-month period, I should say. With that, we picked players from the matches between provincial centres. And in the provincial centres, because we didn't have that much funding to actually get provincial unions playing against each other, some of them. So they had matches among themselves. We went there and observed that, and there was Brumbies camps that was conducted throughout the country, and we picked players out of there as well. And we've also picked about 3 players out of the sevens team. After their sevens commitment, they'll be teaming up with the boys to go to Singapore. And to add to that, the boys that were picked from Brisbane, I actually went down there a couple of times to see them play. Reason being the recent one being just about a week ago. So it's the players that were picked. It's not just we just picked them overnight. They were monitored over a period of time, and tests were given to them. And those who met the requirement, and those who pretty much played according to the game plan that we want to execute in Singapore, those are the players that fit our plans. Those are the ones that have been selected.
While much of the emphasis has been placed on the national sevens team to deliver, Sydney is backing the Pukpuks to execute the correct game plan against Singapore, but says he will let the results speak for themselves.
We've selected the team that we believe can best execute our plan towards achieving those goals, and in saying that this the group of players that we've put together, we believe will get us to achieving those goals. Picking a team not just for this year, we're picking a team for the next 3-4 years. So we've invested in the future with getting a couple of 18, 19 and 20 years old, and even a lot of them are 22, 23, 24, which is the investment that we're putting into the future of rugby here, especially at the national level.
Sydney Wesley said this team is the youngest team to represent Papua New Guinea at an international test match level. Now the Singapore tour is only the beginning of a new era for this young team. Post-Pacific Games, the PNG RFU will play host to the Foro Cup, and they're hoping to take the cup off defending champs Cook Islands.
We wish the Pukpuks the best in their preparations for their test match in Singapore. We head out for our first break. Up next, we have Rugby 9s and the Hohola Off-season League. Welcome back to the show. Kimbe will host the last leg of the Super Rugby 9s tournament. The tournament also showcases the smaller centres, and last week, Jeremy caught up with the teams from Makam and WOW.
I'm over here to cover the Digital Super Nines Northern Zone competition. That involves about 13 teams coming from all across the region. They've come from as far north as Wewak, Vanimo. You've also got the guys here from Madang and also from Moresby. And I'm here right now with Peter Samuel, who's the president of Makam Rugby League. Now, Peter, thank you very much for your time. Now, you brought the Makam Ryans over. It's been a while, and they're now back in.
Yes, we have been in the camp for almost 2 months. We are prepared for this Digital 90. As a new team, we came this far, and we have more to work on. Yeah.
Now, one of the things a lot of people would be used to seeing people from Makam playing soccer, but instead you've got them here playing rugby league.
Yeah, Makams, we have the height, build, and speed, and we think that rugby is the right game for us. We have played rugby league in an official manner since 1990s in like a tournament type. Gradually, we think that we should came out to Papua New Guinea. We have the potential because we have two Makams, pure-blooded Makams in the made it to Kumuls. We have Kera Nafkin, and we have Gesau Gebob. They are two-blooded Makams. They have given us the strength that we Makams can be competitive in rugby league.
Going on, well, apart from the 1980s, a lot of the players that you've brought here now do have that potential also.
Yeah, they're the players here, as you've seen, they're young schoolboys. Half of the boys here are schoolboys. They're playing schoolboys rugby league. And we have a handful of boys that are in the village. We are gradually doing awareness, a lot of awareness in the villages.
Have you found it's changed the attitudes back home?
Yeah, we have worked a lot as the mindset of the people, they're soccer. Hopefully we are working on doing a lot of awareness. In 5-10 years time, I think soccer will die out in Makam.
Peter Samuel, I'm not sure your own One Talks will be happy to hear that, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'm here with Philip David, who is the rugby coordinator for Rugby League back in Wau, which is the district of Moresby province. Philip, thank you very much for your time. Your boys played a blinder today. Unfortunately, didn't make it into the final.
We tried our best. We tried our best, knowing that Wau Rugby League Association is the best place of rugby league in Wau. So we feel that we must have a commitment to have our boys, even though we travel from distance. Our boys really played well. We are happy with that.
Now, this is a similar question I asked to the guys from Makam. Moresby province, commonly associated with football, or in this country we call it soccer, now shifting towards rugby league.
Yes, actually, in truth, Moresby is. They say it's a soccer country, but actually it's a rugby league country. But we didn't uphold the rugby league. Most of the Morebians, they like soccer. That's why Moresby is known as soccer province. But actually, Moresby is a rugby league.
Just coming back to the last question I have. How do you think reaching the semi-finals this year? How do you feel the team's chances for next year?
We have learned a lot. We have learned a lot from this competition, and we believe that next year and onwards, Wau will gain its position as the birthplace of rugby league.
Philip David, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Welcome.
Both the Makam Ryans and Wau were unable to make it past the semi-finals, and it was an inter-provincial challenge as the Ramu Crushers took on the Madang Manub, with the visitors taking the spoils. To the Bowls and visiting Kainantu were furious after losing to the Lay Royals in blue, their match going right down to the wire, with the Morebian side victorious in the end.
We shall not be moved. Royals together, we shall not be moved. It's like a tree standing by the bamboo side. Royals, team, Royals, team, Royals, stop.
And finally in the cup, the home side Duban Fox would have a narrow 4-0 win over the LBC Spiders. Would face an informed Tigers side who trashed Wewak 34 points to 0 to meet in the final. The Fox, sponsored by local member Nixon Duban, had to fight back right to the end before winning by only 2 points.
Great to see the code being spread out to minor centers around the country, and we can expect more of the same to occur this weekend as the Island Zone battle it out in Kimbe. Do get out there and support your team. Welcome back to Hotspot. Here's a brief look at last weekend's matches.
Unfortunately, Madang couldn't hold off a fast finish in Hikari's side, despite the halftime lead and the enormous home support. With captain Samuel Kinney and midfielding partner Alwyn Komalong trying to shut down Hikari's midfield. The first half at the home side struggled at times, but again it came to individual brilliance from nothing. Kinney himself belted in a shot outside from the 18 yards box. Hikari stepped up after half-time, an experience that brought them home. David Muta and Tommy Sammy fine-tuned and disciplined, the short passes teasing and pushing Madang out wide. Nicholas Murray scored and Tommy Sammy added a second goal minutes later, and in the hopes of the vocal Madang support.
That's the way Hikari is. We have to have a lot of patience. If we take PNG into another competition, we have to be like this. When we act really rough, then there is nothing good about that. But I think our boys deserve the win. They work so hard, good discipline on the field, and they deserve the win today.
We actually didn't feel anything because we decided to keep calm and play our normal football, which we tried. I think the second half we lost concentration because of we decided to play a bit dirty. That's why we lost concentration and made 2 quick goals.
And we now take a look at a preview of round 7.
Hey there, Scholar. Thank you. Well, yes, it was a massive weekend last week in round 6 of the Telikom National Soccer League. A couple of big matches that happened. The biggest one, of course, would have been between Hikari and Madang. Now, I went for that. The crowd itself, the atmosphere at the Lightwater Oval was just absolutely fantastic. Hikari coming out 2-1 winners, although it was a very heroic performance by the home side Madang FC. This weekend they will of course take on Besta, and that game will be over in Ley. No more fireworks. Now Besta themselves are coming off that 3-0 loss to FC Port Moresby after the match. Assistant manager for FC Pom, Alex Davani, had actually said, you know, he was pretty happy with the performance of the boys, although the weather itself did affect the team in a way. He also commended the Besta coach, Bob Morris. Now he's been one of the best youth coaches, here in the country. In fact, there have been calls for him to coach the under-23 national side for the Pacific Games. The Besta team, however, very young, do have a lot of inexperienced players. You know, you have to understand a lot of them are 20, 21-year-olds, and going up against Madang after what I've seen in the match against Hikari, most likely it could be Madang to take it. But you know, so far my predictions in the NSL haven't been up to scratch. Madang, on the other hand, they'll be buoyed. Their coach Francis Moyap, even though he was disappointed with the 2-1 loss, he said it was actually slight loss of concentration that led to Hekari's 2 goals. Now, believe it or not, at one stage Hekari were under a huge amount of pressure in that particular game. They had to scramble a lot in defense, and buoyed by the home crowd, Medang were very, very strong. However, it might be a little bit different going over to Leh. It's been well known for a while now that the home sides in Leh itself have a very strong support. In fact, all of the outside teams, all the teams outside of Port Moresby do have very strong home support. Now this weekend, apart from that single match in Leh, there'll be no games unfortunately in Medang, but in Port Moresby it will be a big double header between Admiralty and FC Port Moresby. FC Pom, the 3-0 victory, their first win of the season. Admiralty, yet another loss on the trot, couple of draws. Admiralty, however, will be looking to make a change. So far they have had good attack. I've seen them. They have a good style of play. Although they are a little bit, in terms of their style, similar to how Besta plays. They tend to rush a little bit more instead of holding back onto the ball. So this is something I'm pretty sure that the head coach Kishiku Postman and of course assistant coach Peter Sakayal will be working very, very hard on. Sakayal, of course, he was the coach of the Manus team that made it to the grand final of the PNG games last year, so he's got a wealth of experience as well. But then Postman himself is a former national coach, and the team has been able to learn a lot from him. Now the next game that will be on will be an intercity clash again, and this will be between Leh City Dwellers and Oro FC. Now Leh City Dwellers are coming down here to Port Moresby, having a good victory last week. Nigel Dabinyaba, former Hekari striker, is in form and he's leading from up front. Now for Oro FC, they were very disappointed 2 weeks ago. What happened was in round 5, they lost to Medang 3 goals to 1. And 2 days before that had actually played a round 1 washout match against Hekari, losing 1-0. Now that match was also classified as a very big match, albeit because it was in the midweek. There wasn't much of a crowd. So after that particular match, Captain Gary Moka and also assistant coach Robert Sabadi had actually complained that they weren't too happy about the fact that they had only 2 days rest going into such an important game against Medang. So here they are now, and Leh City Dwellers, and it's bound to be another massive weekend in the Telikom National Soccer League. Back to you, Scholar.
We head out for our final break for tonight. Stay with us as we wrap up the show. Before we wrap up the show, this weekend in Port Moresby, AFL PNG will be staging the New Kick Gala Day.
The 2015 AFL season will kick off with its junior development program in Port Moresby. The program is aimed at equipping children between the ages of 5 to 17 years old basic skills and knowledge of AFL. Through the years, the program has been a tool to scout AFL prospects and have been supported by a number of business entities. Most representative players in the Kurakums, Flames, Binatangs and Mosquitoes have participated in New Kick. And this year, in partnership with the NCD Youth Desk, AFL PNG will roll out the New Kick program in 6 communities around Port Moresby. The New Kick Gala Day will be held this weekend at the Murray Barracks Oval from 8:30 to 12 p.m. And if you're lucky, you just might meet Tura.
We've come to the end of the show. A reminder that if you'd like us to feature you here on Hotspot or have us train with you on our special segment, get involved. Please shoot us an email at sports@emtv.com.pg or check us out on Facebook. And if you're in Port Moresby, drop by to 2nd floor Garden City and ask for Lorraine, Jeremy, Godwin, Rafaela, and our latest inclusion of Dion, Shane, and Elijah, or myself, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Until next time, play hard, play safe, and we'll catch you right here on Hotspot.